Hello everybody, this is Elliot from ETJ English. How are you doing? Today we're going to be focusing on words which end with ED. How do we pronounce them? Well, there's 3 different ways and I'm going to show you today. Now before we start this video, I must mention that I did get this idea from my friend Igor, who works at ILMT, which is a language school in Brazil, Jaciara in Brazil. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong. And basically he told me that his students maybe have a little bit of difficulty with pronouncing words which end with ED. Now I'm here to help you students, I'm here to help you subscribers, I'm here to help everyone with this problem. Now hopefully I can fix it for you today. So words which end with ED. There's 3 different ways of pronouncing them. We can either pronounce them with a T sound, we can pronounce them with a D sound, or we can pronounce them with an ID sound. For some of you this might be quite easy. However, for some countries, something which happens quite a lot is they will just pronounce it how it's spelt. So for example, a word like educated, which we pronounce with the id sound at the end. I find that lots of my students taking my pronunciation course will often pronounce it as educated. Now we have to learn with English that most things aren't really pronounced how they are spelt, so it kind of makes it a little bit more confusing. So I'm going to try and teach you the rules, teach you the basics, we'll practice a few words and a few sentences, and hopefully it should kind of clear things up. So firstly, let's go back to when we said about educated. Now that finishes with id. And why does it finish with id? Well, let me tell you. So if a verb ends with a T or a D, so a T or a D sound, we will follow it with an ID to pronounce that ED, if you know what I mean. So, for example, we could go with a word like want, want. Now let's put an ED on the end of that word. We wouldn't say wanted, we say wanted, id. So just practice that sound first, id. So firstly, to pronounce the vowel, I. Now in the same breath, I want you to finish with a D, where we push the tongue to the top of the mouth and we voice the sound. It's not unvoiced. Wanted, wanted. So all in the same sound, wanted. I wanted a new car for Christmas. I wanted a new car for Christmas. How about a word which I'm enjoying quite a lot at the moment, which relates to the World Cup? Eliminate. Now firstly, let's take a look at the pronunciation of it on its own, without ED. We would say eliminate, eliminate. Let's put an ED on the end. We know that it finishes with a T sound. So when there's an ED followed by that, that means we will do an ID. Eliminated. Eliminated. Nated. Eliminated. Let's try a sentence which will make me very happy. Germany were eliminated from the World Cup. Germany were eliminated from the World Cup. Sorry Germans, I just had to do it. And now let's get to when we pronounce it with a T sound. So, for example, the word laugh, right? Laugh. If we want to make that past tense, we would say laughed, laughed. Now this one's quite a nice consonant cluster to pronounce at the end. Firstly, I have to tell you the F sound at the end of laugh is of course unvoiced. We're not making a sound from our throat. We're not going love, we're going laugh. So because that's unvoiced, the easiest situation and the correct pronunciation situation would be to pronounce that unvoiced T at the end. Laughed. So what we need to do, of course, to create that F sound, the top teeth go onto the bottom lip and we breathe some air out. Now all you need to do is, in the same breath, release a T sound. Once again, tongue to the top of the mouth. How about the word hope? Finishes with a P, which is unvoiced, we're not making a sound. So, hoped. Another consonant cluster here. Now what I want you to do, this is a little practice technique. Take a deep breath in, and when you release that, go. For any of you who have maybe just skipped half the video and got to this point, this is not a meditation video. We're practicing pronunciation. Hoped. Hoped. Once again, P, unvoiced, so that means we have to create that T when it's an ED ending. Now finally, we've done when a word ends with a T and a D, we know that we will pronounce it with an id. We know that when we have an unvoiced sound at the end of a word and we add ed, we pronounce it with a T. What if the sound is voiced at the end of a word? Well, we pronounce it with a D. Now this one's quite difficult to understand because the D sound is actually, when it's at the end of a word, it almost sounds very similar to a T sound. The T is unvoiced, right? And the D is voiced. But when it's at the end of a word, I find that the D sound becomes a kind of mixture of a T and a D. So we're still making a voice in our throat, we're still pushing sound out, but it's much more relaxed. And you'll see what I mean in a second. So for example, the word clean, it finishes with a N sound, clean. So if we want to add ed on the end, cleaned. So it's a very relaxed D. Like for example, if we're talking about a country, let's say Denmark, we're really pronouncing that D sound, Denmark. However, if we're pronouncing it at the end of a word, cleaned, cleaned. So we're very softly pronouncing that D. We still need some voice so it doesn't sound like a cleaned. Let's try another word, plan. Planned. Planned. I planned to plant some flowers in my garden. Quite difficult one, planned to plant some flowers in my garden. And let's just try one more practice sentence, just to practice a few different sounds together. I cleaned my room before I watched the movie. So we've got cleaned, cleaned, and watched. I cleaned my room before I watched the movie. The most important thing is not to create any sounds. Sometimes people like to create a schwa sound. I've heard all kinds of different sounds when people get this wrong. The most important thing is to know exactly you need to either do an ID, a T, or a D, and it needs to come straight after that sound at the end of the word. Okay, so that's it. That's how you do it. It seems quite basic, but you'll be surprised how many people actually get this wrong. So, I hope you found this useful. I hope this did help you in some way with making your pronunciation clearer. Now, this is just the basics. If you want the more advanced stuff, how to really connect your speech with these kind of words, how to sound fluent and natural and confident when you speak English, just go down into the description box below and you can join my online video course with WhatsApp support and voice messaging at etjenglish.com, and hopefully I will meet some of you there. Anyway, that's it for today. Have a nice day. Cheers, guys. Bye.